Okay, I have an important message for women especially, but men too, and also gay people, but also straight people. Basically, if you're the sort of person who fits into a demographic, then I've got something quite important to talk to you about. There are a lot of popular stereotypes about whatever the heck you are. You've probably noticed that people like you tend to get portrayed in a particular way in the media. If you're a gay man, people probably assume that you're more into musicals than sports. Straight guys all drink beer and watch football. Women all want to have long conversations about feelings and shoes. You get the kind of thing I mean. And I just want to ask everyone, whoever you are, whatever your background, whichever demographic you happen to fit into, please put a bit more effort into being like everyone else's stereotypical idea of how you should be. I mean, these simplistic caricatures of how everyone within a certain subset of the population thinks and acts exist for a reason. And if everyone's going to insist on having their own personalities, and to be an individual with all their own complicated interests and ideas, and not pay any attention at all to all these handy little shortcuts that society's come up with to help us make judgments about you, then it just gets exhausting. I don't know how we're meant to keep track if you're going to keep resisting the rest of the world's plans for who you ought to be. I personally get really confused and upset if you are a woman but you play football, or if you're black but you like classical music more than hip hop, or if you're, a gay Republican. I mean, what's going on? There's too many diverging ideas. I need to be able to simplify things down to something I can understand. I need to simplify you down into something that I can understand. And I mean, don't get me started on Muslims who are, nice and don't hate us for our freedoms and want to blow up any major landmarks and to just want to, be part of our culture and make friends and do things that everyone else does. I mean, what? Crazy. I just don't get it. One area where people really don't know how to stick to the script is gender. Now, I'm not going to say that women shouldn't be seen outside of either the bedroom or the kitchen. That would be ridiculous. Today, because our stereotypes have changed and adapted since then. You can be a working woman these days, and that's not too much for me to think about. But please at least have the courtesy to continue knowing nothing about how cars work, obsessing over your weight, and feeling incomplete and inadequate until you've got a man, okay? And it's never too early for kids to start learning how they can make things simpler for everyone else by sticking to the role that's expected of them. There's this completely ridiculous campaign I've been seeing around lately called Let Toys Be Toys, and they object when retailers market certain toys as being for boys or for girls in a particular stereotypical way. Things like this. Now, to my mind, that's just sensible marketing right there, because it keeps things nice and straightforward. Boys get castles and cars and pirates, awesome stuff. And girls get dolls, weddings, fairies, girly crap. Okay, that's good. That makes sense. Let's take a look at another one. See, this totally captures a nice, tidy impression of what boys and girls are supposed to be into. Girls get clothes, lipstick and handbags and fluff and princesses, and boys get football and dragons and climbing and cobwebs and lawnmowers, apparently, and flags and glue. And other stuff that boys are into, boy stuff. Maybe you want your kids to cross the aisle and think it's fine for them to be into ribbons and bones. Those are really weird lists. But when your uncle's trying to get you something totally meaningful and heartfelt for your birthday, he needs stuff like this. See, again, it keeps it nice and simple so that he will know what to get you. I mean, without helpful, considerate arrangements of products like this, how's he supposed to know? He doesn't have time to get to know you as a person. He's got way too much stuff going on. He needs these stereotypes to fall back on. Otherwise, you might end up buying little Jemima some cool dinosaur stuff for Christmas, and little Timmy would get something about baking or something, and then, doesn't even bear thinking about. So please, everyone, it's not hard to be aware of the assumptions that everyone else is making about you all the time for your entire life. Try not to make things difficult and confusing for them by confounding their expectations. The last thing we want is for everyone to have to think for themselves and accept that reality is complicated, because then we just have to accept everyone else for who they are, as an individual. We'd have to treat everyone with the same level of basic decency and dignity, without being able to just neatly pigeonhole them based on some sort of easily observable category, like their gender or the colour of their skin. And I'm not sure we're up to that.